Hello everyone, and welcome back to, well, something new. Something unfinished even. This is a video that I started making as per request from Finch from our Discord. I wanted to know a bit more about Substance Painter, and since I have a model to do things in Substance Painter with, I kind of decided to showcase it a bit more. I normally go through every step of the process from modeling to painting and putting it into Unreal Engine, but in this time I will focus more on the Substance Painter part. I will show you the prerequisites of how I normally do my models. All of these here that you see are mine: the engine, the salvage weapon thing, the wings, and the boxes. These are just for the first boxes that I made. This is a game that I'm working on, and I plan to make something a bit bigger than what you see out of this, like a bigger video on explaining how it works and what the game is about. It will be something like building ships from parts, and you can put the wings on backwards and forwards. This will probably be the default preset for it, an inverse delta wing fighter thing. But I try to make it in a way that you will need to like salvage parts and scavenge parts and take parts that you don't need, and you can attach them to cargo grids and all that. This is working, but you can already put cargo grids in the part, but this is not the point of this video yet. I'm just starting with this one because I think it looks cool, and starting cool is always important. Right, so let me exit this one and we can take a look at the model that I will be working with today. And that will be this one that I was trying to put together. This is like a laser weapon thing. Don't mind the red flashes, I think that's just a Blender display thing. It doesn't show up in close. And if you open it up with edit mode, you can see that I already made the UV unwrapping for it. Not the most majestic things that I've ever made in my life, but it is made in a way that is kind of making sense. So the first thing that you will need to follow this along is a model that you wanna work with the UV map done for it. This one has a lot of small pieces because I couldn't really find a good way to UV unwrap this middle section of the model, which is basically just an array of shapes of various sizes that will create this thing. In the middle of it there will be like a red line running across. That will be the emissive part, so we will get to the emissive as well. And how I did it is, after I had my UV unwrapping, I have something here called textile density. This is something you can enable in preferences and textile density checker, and that's the add-in. I think it's part of the default Blender things, but it's not enabled by default. The point of this is that it's basically looking at your model, checking what is taking up a lot of space and what is taking up very little of space, and it's basically adjusting the faces in a manner that it's consistent across the model. So whatever is taking up more space will have more space on the texture map, And I don't know too much about it. It has a bunch of settings of how to manually set this. How I normally do this is just doing this as calculate textile density. And this one is calculating it, I don't know based on what, but when I do set textile density, it will basically resize everything to the relative space they took up on the model. So larger things take more space. And then I do a UV and pack islands, and I can edit a bit more. I usually add 0.02 as a margin, and it will pack it all neatly and nicely into one texture. And that's my texture. This is basically what we will do. One additional thing that I normally do in here, and that is the part where I kinda, you don't need to do this, but if you have something like this section here, which I know will be an emissive one, I kind of remember where it is, but if I have more things on the model that are emissive, I can do it like and I just noticed something here. Even though it doesn't look like much from here, you can see that some of these parts are kind of peeking through. Let me take a quick look at this, although this is not a modeling tutorial. And let's say, just for these few, I can do I was trying to make it in a way that it's not peeking through in all direction, but I think it might be a better way to do it as to just get this top part, look at it from the front, and just say G and Y, and that would make it just as, well, not G and Y, S and Y. That should make it like a bit more wide, and it should cover everything even from a distance. That is good, everything is fine, everything is okay. So what I started to say is that if you have more emissive parts on your model, then there are two ways to do it. Well, if I have more than one, if it's just one, I can just try to remember it's there, and I can look it up later on when I'm doing the texturing on it. But if you have more things on it, like I have this red liney thingy, it has multiple parts in it, so it might be, I might come back to it later on to figure out how this works, because you can, if you select, this will be emissive, but since I cut it up to multiple pieces, I might need to manually look around and find all the pieces that belong to it just to emissive paint all of it. So one pro tip that I can give on it is that instead of having them scattered around your map, we might do this quickly here because I am not in a hurry. You clicked on a tutorial video and this is not the TikTok version of it. So what you can do here is that you see them there all around your map. I switch off the UV edit mesh sync, so it will not work with all of those, and I just G and move these out here. You can move them a bit closer together, and we can work on it later on separately. What I'm trying to do here is, sorry, I'm going a bit long-winded version about it, is that I can make some space anywhere for it. Like instead of this one, which is probably not a big, it's one of the side things, so we do need to keep that one, but there are some things that I can make some space of, like making making some space basically, maybe between here, or making this panel a bit smaller. And we can group all of these in one place so we can easily find it instead of looking up 10 different things in the UV map. When we are adding the emissive, we only need to look for one specific section where we group together all the things that will be emissive. So let me quickly do that. We will do a bit of a time warp here, and I'll show you the end result when it's done. But that's basically what I will do. I will get all the emissive parts and put them in one section of the UV map. So let me you know what, we can do a pause. This video will be long enough even as it is, so I'll be back when the emissives are all in one part. Alright, so here it is. All of the emissive parts, including the tip of the thing, is selected and put right in the middle of the UV map in its own space. It doesn't really matter. Their size also doesn't really matter because there will be a uniform emissive color, so at least at this point it doesn't really matter how big they are. They can even be like 1 pixel if I would really want to, but I like to keep them just in a kind of relatively the same size as they're supposed to be, just, you know, in the same place, so I don't need to look for 10 different things. When we will make the emissive map, we know we only need to affect this section of the texture and nothing else. I don't need to look for other things. There won't be any bleeding, so if I would want to make this one emissive, that would bleed over to the other segments as well. So it's like they are the islands that I want to be emissive are separate from everything else. Right, so this section here, the very end of this, where it is connecting to the mill body, it has this part here. And this one is not part of it, because this will be kind of like a connector, this will be something metal, and only this tube here will be the emissive part. But yeah, I spent quite a lot of time in this one. Let me set this up. So when I have this UV done, size okay-ish, the only thing that I'm not okay with is that currently it has the origin point at the tip, which is probably not the right place for it. Let me move this somewhere here-ish. We'll figure it out later on. It's probably something that I will need to move in Unreal Engine. So Shift S, cursor to world origin, and selecting the model object, set origin to 3D cursor. That will make the gun kind of having the origin point there, so if we rotate it, we will rotate it from that point. I don't know why this ugly red thing is there. It's definitely not a double thing. The checks that you can do before you move into Substance Painter are selecting all faces and then checking here, not here, here, that you have your face orientation ticked in. If you have that one ticked in and in Blender you have a face that is like inside out, it will show up as bright red, so it will be easy to figure out. The other thing that you need to look for is go to Edge Vertex mode, select all vertices, F3, and merge by distance. This will take out all the vertices that are on top of each other, so you don't have unnecessary vertices flying around. And the other thing is Ctrl A to apply all transforms. This will do any scaling and rotation and whatever that you have on this applied. There are some things I might want to change in this model, so this is good as one thing. At the moment this is just one part. If I move it around, nothing is falling off of it. We might need to change that later on. So if you are just making something like this from the scratch, it's best practice to have a version that is in parts. So if you need to change just one part or need to export something separately, like if you want to make a model that is broken and have parts of it all around, then it might be easier to keep a version of it which is in parts. You can hide everything you don't need, like in this one I have all my other ship parts that I made so far, so that's not a problem. So once you have that, you go to File, Export, FBX, and I have this preset here that I started making on, and it's just an FBX default. What it does is it is setting the object type to export only what I have selected, right? And for what I figured is a good way to do the Unreal Engine import is to have this, instead of edge smoothing, to smoothing groups. That solved some issues for me in Unreal Engine, so that's what I will use too. And instead of cockpit.fbx, we will call it lasergun.fbx, and that will be our thing. And once it is done, we can move over to Substance Painter. But before we go there, I wanted to show you what version of Substance Painter I'm working with and why am I working with that. So I'm using this version, which is Substance Painter 2022. You can no longer buy it in the Steam store. But yeah, it was a good blast when I bought it. It was around 100-ish pounds. And this is a standalone version, and I can use it for all eternity as far as I understand. And I already put almost $1,000 into it, so I still don't know it by any chance. I've not done too many formal trainings on it. But what I would advocate for is find a standalone version if you are buying this, because ain't nobody supposed to buy their propaganda, because they now sell it still as a standalone on Steam, but their preferred method is a subscription model. Don't subscribe to software. Get the standalone version if you can afford it and use that one. It has a mixed review at the moment, and they don't sell the old one anymore, so this might be slightly outdated for anybody who is trying to follow this along. I'm showing it still on the old software because there might be some ways to get that one. I use this older version and I'm pretty happy with it. I don't want to change it. I don't want it to be changed to anything or anywhere. And I get used to this one, so that's what I'm using for all my stuff. An additional thing that we will need for this is something called the Stylized material. There's a guy called 3DX, and he is having all kinds of stylized materials and trainings in his Gumroad. And what I invested into is the Stylized Material 2.0. It's actually updated to 2.2 or 2 point something something, and this is the version that works well with my 2022 version of Substance Painter. He has a newer version, the 3.0, which I also bought. These are not expensive stuff. This is like £7, this is like £9. But the 3.0 needs a later version, Painter 9.1.2, to work. And it would be good to have, but I don't want to upgrade my Substance Painter just so I can use this one. This one will do fine. This one would be better. The scratches and other stuff, the wear and tear would be better in it, and it's more tuned for stylized model making. And it's pretty nice, pretty cool. You can adjust all of this in. And I kind of discovered this, and this made me like texturing. Previously I thought it's a pain because I kind of learned to texture by texture painting, and it's a long process. When it comes together it's good, but when it is while you are making it, it's pretty hard to manually texture paint everything. Substance Painter is specifically a texturing program, so it basically has presets that you can throw on it, and this Stylized Smart Material is one of those presets. And I will show you how easy it is. So once we have the model, we can just throw this one on, and you immediately have everything that you need to for a basic thing. And after that, you can just need to select parts of it. Like, this one you want to make a metal thing, you can just select this part and apply the same material to it once again, and just change it to a metal type or change the color of it. You can set parts separately. You can paint parts as like a surface triangle, or you can paint them as a lot of other things. But yeah, let me start this one up, and we can actually start the meat and potatoes of this training, which will be the actual Substance Painter. But when I start this up, it has a bunch of stuff in it, but not our model. So we can create a new file for it. I normally work with 2K resolution, that's my native monitor resolution, and that will be the video's resolution as well. I don't particularly choose template, it has a bunch of them, you don't really need to at this point. You can just select your thing, which was in my case the laser gun. And I set the document resolution to 2K, I don't really need to change anything on it. And when I open this one up, it will put my texture and the model in here. You can navigate this with Alt. You hold Alt and left click, and you can rotate your model around. You can do Shift and right click to rotate the sun around, so you can kind of highlight different parts of the model. And this is very useful. But what this one is missing is the whole reason why we were making this Substance Painter is the PBR. PBR is basically the texturing type, which consists of multiple layers of textures, adding all together into creating something. Normal map to make the bumps, base color to give the colors, and roughness and ambient occlusion are additional maps that simulate shadows and metalness and shininess. There's an old material science behind it, but if you're not doing hand-painted models, you will probably run into this at one point. The point of this tutorial is not particularly that. I just go to Bake Mesh Maps here first. This is where I create the additional maps for it. The ambient map, the normal map, and there are a bunch of other things here. I normally leave them to default. There are a couple of things that I change here. The one is the resolution of the bake, which I set to 2K. I take in this low poly to high poly mesh, because there are various ways to do this. If you want to make a more detailed model, you can do a low poly version like this. You can create a high poly version where you can sculpt details, you can add breaks in it, and you can dents in it. You can increase the resolution for it. You can add bevels on the edges to kind of make it look a bit better, but you don't use that model normally in a game. So what you normally use is a low poly model, but you can bake the details from a high poly model over to this one. I don't have a high poly model for this one because the point is just semi low poly. I didn't really feel like spending another few hours just adding a high poly and then baking that over. We'll be perfectly fine by just using the low poly mesh as high poly. That will be perfectly cool. The other thing that I normally do is I go through these maps, and wherever I see that it has secondary rays, I crank that up to the maximum. I previously had an issue that when I did a bake, when parts were too close to each other, they were creating these ugly shadows all around them. And I saw a video of this a couple of years ago when they were just saying, hey, just crank up the secondary rays. And when you do that, it kind of makes it a more precise bake, if I understand it correctly. And that's basically it. You say bake mesh maps, and it will start making all the normal bobs, the shadows, the curvature, and everything else. And then you can return to paint mode, and you already see that this one is kind of having a bit more shadowy details, especially where parts are matte. They have a more detailed shadow thing on it. This is needed to apply smart materials also, as I discovered. And if I go to my smart materials up here, I have this 3DX stylized material right up here on the top. I already made a couple of variants of this one, but if you just want to see a quick look at how your model would look textured, you can just pull this material here, and bam, everything is made as one terracotta color stylized laser gun. We'll probably work more to make this a bit consistent with the other things that I have. I already see some issues here that we are missing something, or something is too close to it, so the bake was kind of baking through here. That's an issue that I kind of need to fix eventually. Yeah, so there's definitely something here that is baking over, or even if it's not, I see that this is an end gone. If you rotate around, you can see that the four edges of this thing are not in the same plane, so this corner is actually higher up than it's supposed to be. We can probably quickly fix that, and I can show you how. If I go to focus on this panel, and we can take a look in here, we can see that, yeah, it is definitely not the thing. So what I can do is I can select that face, and I will need to select this face too. And what I do is F3 and make planar faces. That will kind of straighten it out, so it will be a good thing. This one behind it is also kind of similar, but first just let's see if this one will fix our thing. The other thing that I want to do is I do shade auto smooth and kind of smooth it a bit until these pipes here get a bit more smoothed out. Might need to decrease the angle a bit. Hang on, let me see which one. Not 20. There you go. So around 36, 37 degree of smoothing. Yeah, that's when it starts to appear. Let's say 37 degree. That should smooth a couple of things out. And now that is done, I can do another 5. I don't need to remake the UV for these changes, hopefully. So I just do Control A, apply all, just to be sure, and then File, Export, FBX, and Laser Gun. Settings are the same as before. Export, and we can get back to here, and we say Edit and re-import mesh. This will re-import our mesh, but the bake is still the same, so I need to go back to bake mesh maps. Everything is the same. I do another bake, and you see that thingy, which I thought will be gone, is not gone. Is it gone? It's gone. It's gone. Okay. So that hole or shadow on it has been resolved, because now it is a face that is on the same plane and that doesn't have any other issues with it. But it was good to look at this and see that we can have these issues. I was having more than one of these while I was making the cockpit, so that is something. Instead of this one though, before we go deeper into it, I will add a version of this material which I call wing gun metal, which is like the same type of color and material that I use for the other one. It is the same material is the other one. If I remove this one and pull back the original, this is the default material. It has multiple layers that you can see in here. Extra curvature is just adding extra highlight to the curvature places. You don't particularly need that. And it has this metal layer in it, so if you want to make it a metallic, since this is like a layered texture, so whatever is above another texture will take precedence, and we will use that heavily when we are making our thing. But if I enable the metallic, it will turn everything into this shiny metal. And that sometimes you want that because it's the same metal, but as you can see, it has multiple layers. It's surface details which are adding some extra to it, and edge damage, which can add this damage to your all of your metallic edges. Sometimes this looks cool, sometimes it doesn't. Depending on what model you are trying to make, this can be good or bad. And if you click on this one here, that's in the same folder basically, that's what controlling your metal parts, and that's the smart material part of this smart thing, is that you can change the tiling of it, you can change the color of it, you can change the edge highlight of it, and this is your main color. But if you want, you can make this like a reddish metal, or like change it to something greenish or yellowish, or if you go towards the orange, you can get like an almost bronze or other color that you want. And it applies everywhere. So this is why we will do a bit of a layering of our own. At the moment, I don't need to be this to be metallic, and since this is like, this one is disabled, and I have this material here, which is the basic, this one takes precedent. But since the other one is above it, if I enable that one, everything will be this darker color. It is basically the same as the basic material. I just did one extra change to it, and I can probably show you that. Metal is off, and I can close that stack over there, and this is the base parameter for it. And what you can do here is you can see main color, edge color, and a bunch of other things here that are driven out here that you can do, like AOE intensity. You can make the shadows darker in it if you want to. Roughness amount is basically making sure how the roughness is word. Roughness contrast, this is kind of like an additional thing. Roughness amount, this is what makes it like super shiny if you want to, like this mirror shine, or completely matte. So you can change that here as well. And what I did here is basically I just changed the orangish color to something darker, like very dark brown, and you basically got the similar material that I have. It is just a bit more shiny because I was messing around with the roughness. You don't particularly need to, it is just depending on what you actually want to achieve. But this is how we do it. So if I remove this one and enable this one back in, I have my preset gunmetal color of it, but it's applied everywhere. And this is my first, you don't particularly need this layer above it, this is the default that is coming with. So this is what I kind of use it as a flood layer. I have this at the very bottom, so whatever we will do, at least the model will have this one. And this will be the majority of its texture, because the top of it is the same, the bottom of it. So basically most of it is filled with this material. But I do want to change additional things in it, like the tip here. We might need to change this structure inside here to something else, and this one is different metal. These pipes here definitely will be looking better if they would be metal. This part here I will use to connect it to the end of the wing, or to below the wing. We will see how that will work out in the game eventually. But first let me show you how to add another material here. So let's say you want to work with the pipes. I have here something called shiny steel, which is exactly the same metal, but it's like this metallish thing. And let me... So if I remove that mask, it will give us this basic metal look that we had before. And it's flooding the entire model, so we don't need that. And how you get around it is that you right click on this part of the model and say add black mask. Black in this case means that it's applying it nowhere. White mask would mean that it's applying it everywhere except where it's black. But if you add the black mask to it, it just means that it's not applying it anywhere. And we are specifically selecting what it will be applied to, right? So right now it's all black, so it doesn't apply anywhere. If I want it to be applied to the pipes, let's say, I can select this one here, no, this one, the polygon fill, and that will basically show us all of our islands in the model. And in this section here on the right, you can select if you want just a triangle, you just want the polygon, which is one face of it, or you can select a model like this. This is like a separate part, basically. It doesn't give me any tooltip, but if I click on this one, it will make that entire pipe this metal thing. Sometimes it is misclicking, so you need to go back and select another part of it. And once all your pipes are in order, let's do it on the other side as well. I do a sunshine on this part so we can see it better when it is changing. I will change these brackets on it, or like external parts, but we don't need to do it here. We can paint all of the pipes as metal. And heck yeah, that's good. I bless it. If you want to see what you are doing, that's why I had that extra paint layer on top of it. You can just click off from the mask, and then you can take a look that now you have the gunmetal and you have your pipes as metal on it. I probably will add more to this one, like create another version of this metal mask and make this screwy part in the middle like a bluish metal. We can do that. Or we can get back to this one and we can say that, hey, I want this bracket here as that one. If I can select it, can I? Yes, I can. So if I select that one, then it will make that part metal as well. And I will probably need to choose one or some of these parts as metal, but I have not really figured that part out. What I will show you next is how to add the emissive parts, which, if you remember, are these. If you want emissive, you can also close these tags, so it will be quite easy to showcase if you wanna have the metal showing, or if you wanna have the base color showing, so you can do that one. This is just how it was built up, but you know, you can delete these if you don't need from the stylized material. But I found it that there are very good parts in this that you can do, like change the main color, the edge. You can remove, like for example, I have these banged up details on the pipe, which I'm not sure I will like eventually. Then I can just go to my metal layer, go into the metal folder of it, and I can take off edge damage, and that will take off all that damage from the pipes. So for a working gun this might look better, but you know, whichever you want to do. So yeah, if you are the one making the model, you can do it and make it whichever way you want it to. For the moment I leave this on because we are doing a salvage game, so a little bit of damage on certain parts of the model would be okay. Emissive, yes. So to have emissive map, you go to texture settings, and here are all the maps that the Substance Painter is making by default. You can go to add and add an emissive map. This in itself not doing anything. So you need to go back to the layers and add the flood layer. This is this bucket icon here. And move it to the very top, or I guess under that one. You can call it emissive. And right now it is covering everything and it's not emissive, because we need to make sure that it is affecting the right map. And you can do it here in the material side. You can say that you don't need color, metal, roughness, normal, height map. You only need the map to affect an emissive color, and you can set it as pure white. And you can set it to any color that you want and it will be emissive all around. I set it white because in Unreal Engine you can basically control what color the color of the emission will be. But right now everything is white bright and we don't want that. And as with the other textures before, we can add a black mask, and now nowhere is it emissive. What we want it is to be emissive on the parts like these little tubes here, and then the tip of the gun there. And we can do that by going from, instead of the entire segment, we can go it to just affect these endgons, or as I said, polygons. And this is the tip of the gun, and this is the piping on it. And that's why I set all those up in this way, because this is now very easy, because I just need to select these polygons in the middle, and there you go, my emissive piping and the top of the gun is now glowing. And this is exported out to Unreal Engine as an emissive map, and there you can set it up as whatever color you want to, or programmatically color it. Like say that if your spaceship is having a trouble, then all the lights should be red on it. You control that in the engine, but you set up what part of your model will be emissive here in Substance Painter. So that's one way to do it. There are some additional things that we can do, like additional layers. So let's make this big bong in the middle a different type of metal, kind of. I kind of want to add one more metallic layer, like this internal part here, which will be kind of goldish. We will see if that will work. There is also additional piping here that I was hiding previously. I have one here called Cable Orange, so we might do some Cable Orange on those. This is already saved with a black map, so I first need to clear the mask. Now nothing is orange. And when I have this one, I go with basically if I click one on it, it will make this one tile orange, but I want to make this section orange here, like up until there, which we can do in two different ways. First, we can find where that is on the map. You can just check it by what you already colored, or you can be smart about it and go back to Blender, go into your model and say this one, this one, this one, and that one. So you can probably see that we are above this, there is 2, and next to this there is 2. So we can get back in the model and we can see that it is this one. And I can tell by this that the smaller segments here are this ring around that. So if I choose to color these segments orange, that is coloring exactly that one part of it that I want it to be colored orange. There's a slight bit of bleed over this. This is why if you want to do different materials, you can you can separate them. So what I could do in this case is that I can go back to Blender. I can say that, hey, very cool, very cool. I want these islands only. Need to zoom in a bit. So I want these islands only. And what I can do is I remove this sink and then just move them out somewhere. And then, same as with the emissive, we can now say that, hey, this is the same thing. Very cool. And I want this one a bit smaller, and I can put it back in here. So the island sits on its own. So when you do an exit, Control A, Control S, Control A, don't forget to save. And I can apply all transforms, file, export, FBX. You know what, since we are here, before I do an export, I do it for the rest as well, because it's not too big of a deal and it will make our painting process a bit better. Pam, pam, pam. G here. This one, scale. Even rotate it a bit, that's alright, it will be uniform. The point is that if it doesn't have the same, like a neighboring thing, then it won't be bleeding over to it and you will see it immediately. Alright, so the other one is this one here. Let me just select these faces. Moving it out. Probably there's an easier way to do this, but you know, I kind of got used to this one already. And then I can take this one back in here. We are now just editing the UV map, so it doesn't really need anything extra. In like, you don't need to like recreate the UV maps. It is just rearranging them, right? So it won't be too much of a problem. I can move this out here, make this a bit smaller, make this a bit smaller. There you go, all is good and everything is fine. I can now do export, FBX, laser gun, same settings, export, and then we go back here saying edit, re-import mesh, and it should re-import, and I think it will try to reapply our materials as well, but there might be some change here because we did some change here. So what we can do is we can go to the mask of the orange, we say clear mask, that will take it off from everywhere, and we can go to polygon, fill, and select those, select these, select these, and select these. And now if we look at it, you can see that the orange is not bleeding into that part of it. We might need to do a rebake here because there was a slight change in the texture. So the normal map and the other maps are not aligned, but it's very easy. We can go to bake mesh maps, we don't need to change anything, just do another bake. Bam. And we are back, it kind of looks a bit better. It's kind of having some issue here, but it's such a small detail that I don't think it is necessarily something that we need to bother with. The point is that it's a bit more clean. I kind of messed things up here, it seems, because this one is not perfect. We will get back to it as soon as I figure out which one is it. It's correct, but it was not separated at the right place, and I know that it's this one for sure. Yeah, I should have included this part here as well for this. Anyway, that's alright, I'm not going back to Blender for that. At least not for now. Because from this distance it doesn't really matter. And this is where it will be viewed upon. Even if the player gets a bit closer to it, it's not that big of a deal. At least, not something that I should spend more time in. But yeah, now we have some orange in there, which is good, because it's the color palette of the rest of the ship parts as well. For this tier 1 starter ship that we will put together in the first level of the game that I'm making, I'm trying to make sure that the parts are kind of using the same color palette, like they would have been made in the same place as well. Alright, so yeah, we wanted to make a different colored metal for that part. We can make it super funky and we can do this visor adjusted, but that's a bit too shiny for the thing we are going for here. I might use it for this internal part, but I need to take off from the additionals. So I have a black mask here, and I can probably just select these, and we can figure out based on that where the heck that was that put in there. Oh, there. Okay. This looks okay. I can go back to the mask here. Polygon fill, and we know that everything here will be the same thing. That's why we did it. So it now has this blue core in there. I kind of want to change it a bit, more like a goldish core, because to be frank, this is the color of the cockpit, and that was meant as like a hard glass type of thing. So imagine this more like kind of like a not bronzish, but kind of like goldish color. Not that type of gold, but more like some darker color. Not necessarily green. Let me see what we can pull with orange or even red. Yeah, this looks okay. Look at that, it's like a dark tan color. And what we can do is we can apply the same thing for this back piece as well, which is this entire thing here. I just select these faces here. I don't even need to worry about everything else, as long as I'm not bleeding it into anything else, just these parts, it should be fine. And this one too. Okay, it might be a bit too shiny, but we are at the designing phase, so we might need to, we can change it later on if we want to. Right, so what I will do is I will get back to the meta segment here, and I will try to figure out a good way to move these, to select these middle chain looking thing as metal as well. And then we might add a darker bluish metal to these upper parts, and maybe something shinier for the core of the whole thing. And once that is done, it will be onward to exporting. But that's basically the whole thing that I will do. I will select materials, and with black mask I will apply them to just the parts of the model that I actually want them to be in. If they have a segment which is like intersecting with another, it's best if you go back and separate it to a different UV so the paint will not overlap it. There are additional things you can do with this, like if you have a paint layer and you can select the paint that you want to do. You can use a pen and tablet to like hand paint this. I'm not too good in hand painting, so there are additional materials here that is coming with the program, like leather or machinery or whatnot. You can also do lots of fun things with it, but the point is that once you have the PBR calculated, actually I like this one. I might change this segment at least to this machinery color. We might have stumbled upon something here that was not intended, but we might keep it. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I like this. I need to sort this front part out, but I don't want to keep you folks here for that one. This is, we might have been applied it to a bit more than what I wanted to, but these are just corrections, and you are like painting either by freehand or by applying materials and black filters and just restricting the paint that you want to an aura that you actually want to and nowhere else. So yeah, this is kind of like the painful of jobs, but it's kind of, I want to say, talentless job. You don't particularly need any artistic thing in this one, like actually learn about painting. It is just applying material to parts of your model that would use it. Let me pause the video here, and then I come back when I sorted out the rest of the paint, and I will show you the final model and how to export the texture from it. One thing that I want to add here is basically this default material. That's the name of our material. We can rename it as laser gun. So when we will do stuff with it, it will be exported as laser gun basic, laser gun normal, and this will be the base name of the material. But yeah, let me come back when the exporting is upon us. Well, I did some things. I'm not sure I'm 100% okay with it yet, but for the moment this should do. I changed these connection parts here as metallic. I tried a couple of different colorations on this section, but I was not really happy with any of it, so I just settled with the darker metal, and these teeth-like things are looking a bit like shiny metal, and this chain thingy here is looking like bluish metal. So I'm like having stuff and second thoughts and all that for that. I'm also not too happy with this big shiny ball at the end of it. But it's an iterative process. The point is that you can layer the materials as any way you want, and the result will be something. There might be some additional things I can do with this, but the point of this tutorial is just to show you the substance painter, so hopefully we will do that. Once you are done with your texture, you can go to File and Export Textures, and this is where you are basically telling what you want to export. I see one thing here already that it's called default material, which I'm not sure why. Let's just call it laser gun material. And when you are exporting it, file export, it should come as lasered gun material. You need to give it a location. Sorry for that. You need to select where you want to have your textures and in what format. Normally what is most useful is this document channel format. It basically takes each individual PBR channel, and the base, the metallic, the roughness, the ambient occlusion, and also all those. And it says no alpha, so it is not exporting alpha channel up, which is for most cases, at least. I have not really did stuff with the alpha materials and glass and all that, so I can't really talk too much about that. But the point is there are various export settings here, and one of them here that I sometimes used is this Unreal Engine 4 Pact. And what it does is that it's basically routing some of the channels into R, G and B channels. So this one here, and let me see, can I make this a bit bigger? Yes, I can. So basically it says here that it will be occlusion, roughness, metallic, that will be the name of it. And this one will be a mixed ambient occlusion in the right channel, I mean the red channel, roughness in the G channel and metallic in the B. And when you go to Unreal Engine, you can just take each of those channels and wire them up to the material. Of course, the base color will be an RGB, and if you have an alpha channel, that will go on the same texture as well in the alpha channel. So that the texture is basically an image that can have multiple, so to say, layers in it. Most common is just an RGB image. That's the color image. If you use transparency, then this alpha channel can be useful. Or if you are just using grayscale to save space and everything, you can use individual color channels as those channels, because like the metallic, the AO and the roughness is nothing more than a grayscale texture, more or less, like a black and white texture. Same as the R, G and B information in these combined textures. So this can be a way to like just work with 4 textures instead of 10. Because if you choose the document channels without AO, this will create like 5 or 6 files. File type I normally don't change it, I think it's PNG, and the size will be your texture size that you are putting it out. Give me a second, I will position this in the right place and I show you the output. That would probably make a bit more sense. Alright, so I've selected my folder where I will do it, and when I press export here, this will output all these files that we can take a look at. Not all of them are used in setting up a texture in Unreal Engine, but it's okay. If you look at it, the base color is looking like, you know, all of our blue steel color, the external brownish grayish, but it doesn't have any like distinguishing stuff. This is basically a pixel map, and each of the 3D model will basically use some part of it for the color information. This is the emissive map. As you know, you can see that we only had this one in this middle section. I don't know what this artifact is here, probably some sunshine from somewhere. This is the height map. This is also part of the PBR if you have like extra roughness, not roughness, but like, let me show you, that will be easier to show it in here. So if you go back to the model here, it has some up and down parts of it, like this yellow machine material has some texture to it, and that's basically the height map, that's where it is stored, I guess. This will be the metallic map. If you look at this, this is just black and white, so this is why you can, black and white as in grayscale, you can show which part of your texture are metallic. Mixed AO is basically the baked-in shadow information. This is also just grayscale. OpenGL normal map is the one that I use. The other one I don't particularly know how it works. This one gives extra details and complexity to the models, and you can, if you zoom in here, this is the part where the where the yellow machinery material is, and you can see that it is lighting up the normal map. Roughness, this is where the model will be shiny versus not shiny. And that's basically the textures that you export, and then you can use this to put the model into Unreal Engine, and that's it basically. After that you have a textured model, and you can work with that. You can put it in the environment, put it in a blueprint, whichever you want. Give me a second, I put this quickly into Unreal Engine so I can show you how it looks in game, or like in the engine. Hang on. We're back in Unreal Engine. I imported everything. This is my laser gun. These are the textures that we exported except the normal map. I used the OpenGL version, and this is the material setup for it. Everything is wired to the master material. The only thing that I changed is that I changed this to linear color, and for each of these grayscale maps I took out the sRGB option. It kind of makes it better. There's probably a way to automate it better, but I just kind of learned it with the previous assets in this project, that I can turn the grayscale maps into non-sRGB, and here I can choose linear color, and then the model will actually look a bit better, at least for me, but I am not an expert on that part. The emissive is driven into a multiply node with just a color, which I can probably turn into a parameter later on, so you can change the color of the emissive parts, but for the moment I keep it as red. And when everything is as it should be, you can pull this material over your gun, which I did here, and then here we are. It's in Unreal, it's in glowing, and it's something, but this glow is not enough for my dark first level, so I just do one more change live on camera. I will put another multiply node in here, and instead of that I drive it through here, and this will go into the emissive, and this value I will make it like 10. That should be 10 times more emissive than the default. And you can see that it's starting to take a very cool, strong glow effect on it. This will look okay-ish, I guess. We can drive around this, but the best part is that you can pull it in here. Oh shit, I kind of missed a slight problem with this, that the size is not set correctly in Blender. I'll show you how it is done eventually, but I will not do too much of the... I can resize it here, that's less of an issue, so probably around this size. I want it to be smaller than the end of the wing, because this will go... this will go like here, under the wing, or over the wing, whichever will be more convenient. Like I can put one down here. I probably need to rotate this a bit. This will all be rebuilt in a blueprint, so I'm not too worried about this at the moment. For the moment I'm just trying to push this in here to make a rough look at how this will look like. And maybe one for the under wing part, which will probably be sideways like this a bit. This is not really like well put together in terms of stuff, and I might need to change this a bit later. Let me put a duplicate of this up here, getting armed. There you go, we can rotate it a bit to make it a bit more symmetrical on it. And if we go a big tour, I need to save everything because I kind of have it in a separate window. And this will be how we close out the thing. It will not look as good as how I did the intro because I was just, there are settings you can do here like anti-aliasing, which I have not enabled. But here you go, your textured model inside Unreal, and this can just emit the laser out of it eventually. It has the emissive part on it. It is shining where it's supposed to. So yeah, it is good. It could be better, but the point of this long video was just to show around to see like how you make parts of the model different material and how I put together the rest of the stuff here. I hope you enjoyed this. Give this a thumbs up. I know it was a bit longer winded than it could have been, but there are people who enjoy these longer videos. I try to put some chapters in it though, so if you don't particularly like one of it, you can skip ahead. But yeah, for the moment, this is the video and the Substance Painter tutorial as I use it. Let me know what you think of this in the comments and what you would have done differently. And see you folks in the next one. Bye bye.